Why are we interested in lignite? These are all products that are generated from lignite. Historically, lignite has been used for electrical power generation. Why are we interested in lignite? These are all products that are generated from lignite. Historically, lignite has been used for electrical power generation. And, for example, Texas has approximately 12 lignite mines with adjacent mine mouth electrical generating facilities beside those mines. And Mississippi also has lignite mines that love electricity, and so does Louisiana. And a long ways from here in North Dakota. So there's been decades of history and baseline information associated with producing electricity from lignite and the mining and reclamation associated with it. So there is a lot of information associated with that activity. But a lot of people don't understand is that lignite can be converted into liquid fuels. And that's sort of why we're here today, is to look at that opportunity. It can be converted into gasoline, ultra-clean diesel, jet fuel, synthetic crude oil. You can also convert it into natural gas, and there's a whole lot of economic byproducts that are kicked out when you convert lignite to either a gas or to a liquid fuels. And these are not just products that you're trying to get rid of. These are products that actually have value and actually help the bottom line of the project. So these photographs are from the Sabine Lignite Mine in Hallsville, Texas. This was the legislative field trip in 2008. Equipment in the background is a drag line. Drag lines are not used for mining coal. They are used to strip the overburden that overlies coal. Once you get down to the coal itself, this is a lignite in this case. Then smaller equipment is used. These are about 120-ton haul pack trucks. You can see some of the loading. This is another type of mining equipment where the truck and this continuous miner basically move in tandem, and they can just strip off the lignite right at the seam level. Now let's look at some of the reclamation. And again, this is what we looked at. I'm very familiar with mining. I've come from a mining background from the western United States. But a lot of these legislators, when I presented to this information to the Capitol, I could tell from the questions that many of them had never been to an active mine. So I said, we should do a field trip so you can see what the mining process looks like and see what the reclamation looks like side by side. This is an example of 3 to 5 year old reclamation. Everything in the foreground here is in ground. This is all an open pit mine, just like you saw in the previous slide. So after the mining is done, material is backfilled back into the pit. And then the upper 20 or 30 feet that has the organic material stockpiled separately, and it's put back on top. It's aerated and then basically put back into native grasses, pretty much whatever the landowner wants. If he wants trees, commercial timber to go back on there, then the operator will do that. If he wants native grasses, or Bermuda, or whatever to go back for grazing cattle, that's what will go back. And by federal law, the land, after it's reclaimed, it has to be as good or better in terms of productivity as the pre-mine state. That's federal law. And all the federal law really supersedes all of Arkansas law. So what the regulatory agency in Arkansas is the Arkansas Department of Environmental Quality. And they will basically follow the federal laws with respect to reclamation. This is 13-year-old reclamation. So you see the growth of the trees here. They start out with basically hybrid super trees, which are grown in greenhouses typically. They come out and get those started. And so that's a pretty good tree growth in 13 years. This area, this is another slide from the same vantage point, but just rotated about 180 degrees. Everything all the way back to the timber in the back, this is all open pit. So this is all cattle ranching going on there today. This is 15-year-old reclamation at the same site. Here the landowner requested some freshwater ponds be put in a mix of hardwoods and some Bermuda grasses for his cattle. Now we're going to take a look at some reclaimed lands at the Red Hills Lignite Mine in Choctaw County, Mississippi. This reclamation is only 1 to 2 years old. This is the Red Hills Mine. Similar kind of topography we have here in South Arkansas, very flat, very wooded. This is all the mine cycle in here. And then this whole area over here is has been reclaimed back in this area, or part of it has. So this has been reclaimed again. This is about 1-year-old reclamation. And there's the active mine site over there. So you'll hear a lot of these terms that you may not be familiar with. Strip mining. Well, the reason why they call it strip mining is because you mine a strip and you reclaim a strip. You mine a strip and you reclaim a strip. And the reclamation, again by federal law, has to go on concurrently with the mine cycle. You don't mine for 10 years and say, okay, it's time to reclaim. That is not done. So this is an example of how you have the two panels side by side, mining and reclamation. This is a reclaimed area in here, and all this area back in here was not mined back in this area. And this is some more reclaimed area, and again, the surface landowner is wanting some freshwater impoundments as part of reclamation. Okay, now let's take a look at Arkansas, look at a couple of the test pits that were excavated in this state during the early 1980s. This is some of the Arkansas lignite from the Wilcox Formation. This is the exploration manager for GCO Minerals. This particular pit is in Saline County. This was a test, basically, to see if the fuel would work for blending into the some of the Arkansas power plants. So there were about 200,000 tons of lignite was mined as just a test. It was never intended to go in as a permanent kind of test pit. And they did the test at the White Glove power plant on the Arkansas River, which brings in coal from Wyoming. So basically what they did is they took this product and blended in about 20% with the Wyoming coal, and then looked at the burn characteristics of that. And I've seen the information on that, and the burn characteristics were good, but that was the end of that test. None of the lignite in Arkansas is used in power plants. However, what a lot of people don't realize is there was another shipment of this lignite from the same plant that was put on barge at the Arkansas River, taken up the Mississippi River all the way up to, I think it was Minnesota, and it was tested by the U.S. Bureau of Mines, and it's actually gasified. And that's a more of a modern kind of technology where you take the lignite, you crush it, you pulverize it, and then you turn it into a gas. And that is a published document. This material gasified very well. And I'll show you what the significance of that gasification is, why that's important later on in the presentation. This is another test pit that was excavated by Carter Mining Company in Dallas County during the early 1980s. Carter Mining Company was a wholly owned subsidiary of Exxon. And Exxon at that time was interested in looking at the lignite for liquid fuels. And they took about 50 to 100 55-gallon drums and shipped them to Essex, West Germany, for liquid fuels testing over there. And they also sent about the same amount of containers to their Baytown, Texas facility and tested it down there as well. Of course, all that information is proprietary. I have talked to some of the geologists. They're all retired now that were part of this project, and they said the test results were very good. And that would be the direct conversion of lignite to liquid Favorite Group, and the Wilcox Group. Economically, these two, the Wilcox and Favorite Group, have the most economic value to them. There is some lignite that is deeply buried in the Cretaceous section in this part of the state. And there's some tertiary, some of that Wilcox is also very, very deep over in here as well. Some of this area has potential for generating coal bed natural gas. This is the same as the natural gas that comes into your home. It's just methane. So there's a potential there. I'll just point that out. But really what this presentation is about is not the deeply buried coal bed natural gas. It's about the near surface lignite resource that can be mined and converted into liquid fuels. And that near surface resource exists all the way from this lignite is at the surface in some places, and it goes down to a depth, to a mine depth of 300 feet deep. There is a significant amount from the surface down to 150 feet deep. And that resource exists all the way from the Arkansas-Texas state line all the way over basically to the Mississippi River. It's not a blanket deposit. So it's pods and lenses. It's discontinuous. So it's scattered all throughout here. And you also see this little blue line in here. This is everything south of this line is pretty much where all the Arkansas oil fields are. And any production of lignite up here that generates excess CO2, carbon dioxide, that CO2 potentially could be put in pipeline, brought down into this area of the state, and pumped into some of the depleted oil reservoirs, and we could generate additional oil from those wells. It's a proven technique. It's been going on for decades in West Texas. Shell, exploration production company's been doing it for over 20 years in West Texas. We've got billions of barrels of oil out of depleted reservoirs that they couldn't get out otherwise. So that's just another opportunity. This is a map that basically shows where the previous leasing and exploration activity occurred in South Arkansas for lignite. And you can see that each one of these lease blocks has a name associated with it. So these boundaries are not intended to illustrate the boundaries of the deposit. They simply illustrate the boundaries of the leasing that occurred during the 70s and 80s for that resource. With that being said, we can say that in all of these areas, there is lignite. And there is some lignite in between these areas as well. But these are the areas that were defined by industry early on. We had Phillips Petroleum here, we had Exxon here, we had GCO Minerals here. Very, very progressive company, very sharp. So they went in and they conducted these exploration programs and identified these areas as having economic significance. I wanted to briefly talk about Act 641, which was passed during the regular session of 2007. It's a bill sponsored by Bruce Mallett. Created the Arkansas Lignite Resources Pilot Program. You know, I also want to read, if you'll bear with me, these are direct excerpts from the bill. And this will give you an idea of why I'm standing up here today, why I'm looking at this resource so hard. The Lignite Pilot Program shall be developed and administered by Southern Arkansas University, the Arkansas Geological Survey, and the Arkansas Department of Economic Development. Okay, so those three entities make up the Resources Pilot Program. They are to explore and utilize lignite as an energy resource, including without limitation, a synfuels-based research program. To develop public and private partnerships with other entities to develop the untapped energy resource of lignite and to stimulate Arkansas's economy. And to develop practical applications for the use of lignite resources as an alternative energy source. So that's pretty clear to me as a geologist. This is a piece of legislation that's passed, it's signed into law, and said, okay, you guys get to work. Well, our response at the survey and the group is evaluating coal. They are a research organization. They're located on the campus of the University of North Dakota. The EERC was originally founded by the Department of Energy about 40 years ago, and then later kicked back to the University of North Dakota. And they've got about 320,000 square feet research facility, and they've got over 300 employees there, and they know coal. They've got pilot plants under roof, so they can test coal by bulk samples, say hundreds of tons at a time, to really look at the fuel characteristics of it. And not just burning it, but also gasifying it and converting it into liquid fuel. They do all of that. And they do a lot of other research too. They don't just do coal. They do a lot of environmental research. They look at, converting woody biomass, for example, into natural gas. They do all kinds of stuff. So we felt like we got hooked up with the right research partner. And we said, okay, we've got this piece of legislation that was passed. We need to start seriously looking at Arkansas's lignite resource in a clean coal technology environment. And what's the best way to go? And basically, what all that discussion and meetings took place was in a research proposal that was submitted to me by the EERC, and it was in July 2007. It's about a $1.5 million proposal, and that was to outline how we were going to retest this resource for gasification and coal liquids. There's 4 steps in this proposal. Just to be very brief. Step 1, the AGS will go out and secure 75 to 100 new drill cores. We're going to route the drill through this lignite and capture those cores, and then we're going to send those to the ERC. Send fuel development and gasification testing of lignite would be done at the ERC facility to assess the quality and characteristics of lignite for liquid fuels production. We're generating all these products that we use every day. And could be also looking at power generation if you gasify. And all of these kind of techniques, looking at syn fuels and gasification, these are all compatible with clean coal technology. Why? Because when you convert the lignite from a solid into a liquid or to a gas, that gives you a huge advantage. You can pull out the natural pollutants that are in the lignite. You can pull out the sulfur, you can pull out the nitrogen, you can pull those products out when you do the conversion. And that's one of the reasons why we're looking at this particular approach. Step 3, a final report would be submitted by the EERC to the Arkansas Lignite Resources Pilot Program, detailing the test results and enumerating several development pathways based on Arkansas's infrastructure. For example, proximity to economic markets, transportation corridors, water availability, electrical power, etc. Step 4 would be a presentation by representatives of the Arkansas Lignite Resources Pilot Program to the Arkansas legislature regarding the test results and development opportunities and provide some recommendations. Suffice it to say that we were unsuccessful in soliciting the legislature for some money to do that testing. It was a $1.5 million project. The Department of Energy looked at this proposal and they said, we like it so much, we're going to donate $550,000 towards your project. So that would put Arkansas basically coming out a little over $1 million. But the legislature did not do that, and the DOE money went away. So now we're sort of back to square one. Now, this plant is referred to as the Great Plains Synfuels Plant in North Dakota. This is the nation's only operating synfuels plant right now. There are several plans to build more of these synfuel plants that will basically convert coal into other products, liquid fuels and things like that. This plant's been in operation since, I think, 1984. It has always run in the black. It's always made money. They mine lignite in North Dakota and run through this plant and convert it into natural gas. And this plant has about 650 employees in it. Median salary of the employees is around $53,000 a year. This county where this plant, where the mine in this plant is, has the highest per capita income of any county in the state of North Dakota. So let's just look at a couple of the aspects of that plant. It produces 53 billion cubic feet of natural gas annually. That's enough to heat 500,000 homes and businesses. The plant throughput of 18,000 tons per day, or 6.6 million tons per year. They're capturing and sequestering 50% of the plant's CO2 at the top. They capture this CO2, which is the natural product that comes out when they gasify the lignite. They compress it, put it in a pipeline, and send it up to Saskatchewan, and they pump it into depleted oil fields. And now they're able to pump additional oil out of those oil fields. And they're selling it. And the CO2 is permanently sequestered in the subsurface. So they're achieving two objectives there. They're reducing the carbon footprint, and they're also getting more oil out of the ground. It is the North Dakota Department of Health indicated that it's the cleanest energy plant operating in North Dakota. These are some economic byproducts from the Great Plains plant. All of these gasification kind of processes of coal and lignite, they generate large quantities of fertilizer-grade material. Ammonium sulfate and anhydrous ammonia that supply nitrogen, sulfur, and nutrients to the soil. So there's a big market for this. They produce phenol as a byproduct, which is used in the resins for the plywood industry. They create acids for the chemical industry, liquid nitrogen for refrigeration and oil field services, methanol for solvents, naphtha for gasoline blend stock, and you can use xenon or krypton gases for LED lighting. Each one of these products has a manager, has a mine, and they basically oversee the sale, the extraction and sale of that product. And that particular plant's located here. The pipeline goes up here into Saskatchewan, into this depleted oil field, the Weyburn oil field. So again, this has produced a lot of oil, but it's basically given up the ghost, so to speak. It was depleted. Now that they started permanently sequestering the CO2 into the reservoir, they're getting over 20,000 barrels of oil a day. And this is going on as we speak. We do not have the luxury in this country to leave this kind of resource in our reservoirs. We need to get it out. Okay, comparing direct and indirect liquefaction. Direct liquefaction is, instead of gasifying it, now we're going to talk about taking the lignite solid and converting it into a liquid fuel. Okay? With the direct liquefaction, you use pressure, heat, and a catalyst are used to crack the coal to make the liquid. All right? Theoretical efficiency can be high, 70-75%. Indirect liquefaction, you first take the coal or lignite, in this case, and you gasify it to form a syngas. The syngas is then converted to liquids by means of catalyst and Fischer-Tropsch chemistry. Synthesis gas is just a mixture of carbon monoxide, hydrogen, and carbon dioxide and water. You just reconfigure these components here, and you can generate crude oil. You have to also add additional hydrogen. That's all crude oil is, just carbon and hydrogen. So we're just reconfiguring those molecular chains. Theoretical efficiency is lower, 60-65%. And this is more capital intensive. These kind of projects, very sophisticated. South Africans use this kind of technique to produce most of their liquid hydrogen due to the hydrogen efficient structure of coal, and breaking it down as far as necessary to produce distillable liquid. The coal dissolution is accomplished under high temperature, around 400 degrees C, and pressure, 3,000 psi, with hydrogen and a coal-derived solvent. So this solvent is basically derived from the lignite itself. And the pressures on this is coming down, which really helps on the economics. Coal fragments are further hydrocracked to produce a synthetic crude oil. The synthetic crude oil must undergo refinery upgrading and hydrotreating to produce transportation fuel. Okay. Now I'd like to discuss promising lignite research and observations. University of Texas at Arlington has successfully converted Texas lignite to synthetic crude oil equivalent in quality to this standard, West Texas Intermediate. That's an industry standard. When you get the West Texas Intermediate, you can blend with any refinery in the country. So they have successfully taken the same lignite we have here in South Arkansas, and they have achieved that in the laboratory. And they are in the process of selling the intellectual rights to that technology, and they're also in the process of building their first test plant that will basically have a throughput of Texas lignite to be generated synthetic crude oil. I just talked to the Dean of the College of Engineering there this past week, and they're well along the ways of doing this. And those guys are pretty smart down there, and they're selling that technology, and in the proceeds from all the royalties from that technology is going to go back into the University of Texas system. So they're not only going to just do a one-time sale, they're going to get royalty payments from here on out. UTA scientists are currently focusing on the direct liquefaction process. Again, this is a chemical conversion. They basically started with this process here called hydrogen donor solvent method. That method was developed by Exxon. Exxon's got the patent on it. And they basically took that process and made it better, made it more efficient through the means of a better catalyst, a reusable, recyclable catalyst, and then a lot of engineering associated within the batch reactor itself. Basically, you take lignite and you pump in additional hydrogen. This is all crushed. Put it in the batch reactor, high heat. You see the pressures have come way down. They have reduced, kept the pressure down to 500 psi, and the reaction time is 5 minutes or less. 5 minutes or less, this stuff goes in here. What comes out is a crude slurry, and part of it is synthetic oil. Some of it has insoluble, so basically recycling the insoluble back through. You will have some insolubles that will come out of this process that will not be converted. but most of the material is converted to synthetic crude oil. The synthetic crude oil, in general, is higher quality than most natural crude oil. UTA is also patenting the technology associated with the micro refineries. So they figured out how to do this, and they said, you know what? We need to really work on the engineering part of this project, so we can get some mobile refineries that we can take right into these lignite deposits. And then when we're done mining and refining to synthetic crude oil, then we can move them somewhere else. So it'll have a lot smaller environmental impact and a smaller footprint on the ground. So that's what they're pursuing, and they're patenting, again, this technology. They're basically building a micro refinery, is what they refer to it, and it's 20 by 20 by 20 feet. And they're thinking the cost is going to be somewhere between $5 to $7 million. They have 3 contractors that have bids on this right now. We're going to choose a contractor in January, and we're going to start construction of the first And the other aspect of these is that they're modular, so you can link them together. So you say, well, 10 micro refineries side by side could produce 10,000 barrels of oil. So each refinery can produce 1,000 barrels per day. So you put 10 of them together, now you've got 10,000 barrels of oil per day. And it's modular and it's mobile. Lignite in the past has always been compared with the higher rank fuels when you burn it in sort of a negative way, because it doesn't have as high a BTU content, it's got more water in it. But the tables are turned when you start talking about making liquid fuels. The lignite is a much better starting product than the higher rank coals for making liquid fuels. And the reason being is because it has more hydrogen to begin with, and it has a less aromatic structure to it. That's basically what I said here. Much easier to convert to liquid transportation fuels than higher rank coal. So this is sort of what these things are going to, conceptually look like. Again, the first one has not been built yet, but this is sort of what they're sort of sketched out what the thing will look like. Place it at mine, moved as needed, fairly, total scheme of things, $5 to $7 million is nothing for something that will produce 1,000 barrels per day of crude oil. The Vice President and General Counsel for the University of Texas System is currently brokering the sale of that intellectual property rights for the technology. And the first plant is to be completed by December 2011. And again, there's just rather public point that the volume is achieved by replication and modular design. And there's our overall objective for the resource in South Arkansas. I think if we mine it sensibly, we can convert it to a synthetic crude oil. We have a refinery in South Arkansas, Lion Oil Refinery. The aerial shot of Lion currently has 80,000 barrels per day refinery capacity. They've pumped in around $400 million into that facility in the last few years. They've got a new hydrogen production facility, which is key for refining crude oil into liquid transportation fuels. And they've got a brand new crude unit expansion, $200 million expansion there. One other point I'd like to mention about Lime before I move on. They currently purchase crude oil from Saudi Arabia, Venezuela, and the Gulf of Mexico. That comes up pipeline up from the Gulf of Mexico, comes up Mississippi River, up to Arkansas River, comes to the Lime refinery, and they blend that with South Arkansas River. And the representatives from Lion Oil Refining have gone to UTA. They have looked at this process, and they have looked at this resource, and they said that they're very interested in purchasing synthetic crude oil derived from lignite, and basically purchase that on a long-term contract. Okay, now I can move on to AGS update on lignite research. In 2007, the AGS secured research agreements with several industry partners to obtain lignite exploration and drilling data covering an area of approximately 1.5 million acres in South Arkansas. The exploration data obtained from these agreements defines most of the major lignite deposits in the state. Most of these deposits are under commercial timberland. AGS geologists and support staff are currently modeling the geological aspects of this data to assess the depth, thickness, and character of the lignite deposits. Phase 1, basically 4 phases here we're looking at. Phase 1 consists of converting 30-plus-year-old exploration paper files and maps to a modern digital database and subsurface geologic completed most of this work. We're still refining it, but most of the conversion has already been done. It's been uploaded to a modern database. Phase 2 consists of developing a proposed drill hole map for contractors to bid on. Remember the EDRC proposals? I said you need some fresh cores to test at our facility for coal to liquid and for gasification. We can't rely on coal that cores that people drilled 30 years ago. You know, we need fresh cores. So we have already put together a map detailing the depth of the overburden, projected core intervals, cumulative lignite thicknesses for each drill site. And that proposal has also been reviewed by the Attorney General's office, and they said that it is good to go whenever there's some money in the legislature to fund this. Phase 3 is it provides well site geological consultation during the drilling of the core. The AGS staff will do that. AGS geologists will identify the lignite zone to be cored and shipped to the commercial coal testing facility in North Dakota. Again, the money that we're requesting for the legislature is not to pay the AGS. We don't need any money. Our salaries will pay for us to go out and do this well site geological testing and drilling. We need the money to pay the contractors to do the drilling and do the testing of the resource. That's it. Phase 4 is integration of the final EDRC report data into the geologic subsurface models that we're building right now, and identify the highest ranking deposits based on EDRC technical data, and present that data to the utility petrochemical industries through technical conference venues. Conclusions. Arkansas's lignite resource is large, virtually untapped, has a huge economic potential for development. Our neighboring states of Mississippi, Louisiana, and Texas continue to develop their lignite resources, which creates high-paying jobs and additional revenues for their states. Act 641 was passed for the creation of the Arkansas Lignite Resources Pilot Program so that energy utilization strategy for lignite production can be developed. AGS recommendations are centered on development of Arkansas's lignite resources for liquid fuels development. This approach will likely yield a higher economic return for the state compared to utilization of lignite for electrical power generation, and will likely provide more sustainable economic impact with a greater number of permanent jobs. And I cannot emphasize this enough. This resource is very large. There's about 9 billion tons of lignite in the resource category and 4 billion tons in the reserve category. Richard is going to show you how big this resource is and the economic impact that it can have for this state. A synthetic crude intermediate product provides an economic commodity with an existing market already in Arkansas. That's just common sense. Anytime you refine a product within the state, the value is increased. And since we're taking the lignite and then going from lignite to synthetic crude oil to liquid transportation fuels, all within the state of Arkansas, that's going to provide a huge economic impact into the state. Line oil refinery, the modern facility, has capacity 80,000 barrels per day. They're very interested in this process. And they would love to see a project get kicked off. They're not going to do it. They're a refinery. But they would love to see an operator come in here with some of this kind of technology and get a project going like this. Line currently, again, purchased, which I've already discussed, from Saudis, Venezuela, Gulf of Mexico. I suspect that the majority of the crude oil going to that refinery is coming from those resources. South Arkansas cannot keep up. Its production, for 80,000 barrels per day, like that. They also have project, the drilling, testing, and economic analysis of the test result is expected to be completed in 3 years. Now, some people say, well, why are you asking the state for $3 million? And my response to that is the state has a whole agency dedicated to fostering economic development within our borders. It's called the Arkansas Department of Economic Development. They transfer millions of dollars into biofuels, all kinds of projects to foster potential